Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte. We got some news going on in the San Jose Sharks organization. There's been a lot of stuff going on with Evander Kane. There's been stuff going on with some other players in the organization, maybe not being happy with the culture of the San Jose Sharks, and it may be another potential disaster here, as a year from free agency, Tomas Hertl has made it clear he probably won't be returning to the San Jose Sharks. We're going to be taking a look at the trade rumors around Tomas Hertl in today's video. So, according to Kevin Kurz, he reports that the reports have indicated that Tomas Hertl is unhappy with how the Sharks have handled the Evander Kane situation. And that was then followed up by Dan Kinjarski. He speculates that Tomas Hertl's value could be similar to what the Panthers got for Trocheck back in 2020. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers trade. Now, Vincent Trocheck, let's look that up. Vincent Trocheck trade. Come on. So let's see if I could find this deal. It's not coming up for some reason. Okay. So the Florida Panthers traded Vincent Trocheck to the Carolina Hurricanes for forward Eric Howla and Lucas Wallmark. The Hurricane prospects Eetu Luostarinen and Chase Priskie are also coming to Florida in the deal. So the Carolina Hurricanes for forward Howla and Wallmark. And then the Hurricanes also got prospects of Luostarinen and Priskie. So that was I remember that was a big trade. So basically you're looking at Eric Howla, Lucas Wallmark, which are two maybe bottom six guys, right? Howla a center, Wallmark can play center but can play wing too. So middle six guys. And then prospects Eetu Luostarinen and Chase Priskie. So it's really just a bunch of younger bodies. That's really what we're looking at in a potential Tomas Hertl deal, which I think is surprising. I think they could get more for Tomas Hertl. I think it's interesting that that's all they're looking to get out of him. But I think there is some assumption that a year from free agency that maybe his value is a little bit less. And then another thing from Kevin Kurz, multiple sources indicated Tomas Hertl was among the players disgruntled with how the San Jose Sharks handled Evander Kane's conduct. There's reason to believe if San Jose don't address the culture, Hertl may not be interested in sticking around, which I kind of mentioned already. Looking at Tomas Hertl's numbers, now he's a 27-year-old center. And in his career, he's been a really talented player ever since that between the legs goal he scored on the New York Rangers back in the day. He's been putting up pretty much 50 to 60 point seasons per year. The last regular season that we've had, a regular 82 game schedule, he put up 74 points in 77 games. And in the past 2 years, during the whole pandemic situation, in 98 games, he's put up 79 points. So he's been pretty close to a point per game. And overall, when you average everything out, you're looking at a guy in Tomas Hertl. He's probably going to average you somewhere between 55 to 60, maybe even 65 points per year. That's really what you're looking at in Tomas Hertl, a really prolific goal scorer. And I think the Sharks realize that his value could be somewhere in that range. And now the question is, if you do trade Tomas Hertl, where are some fits? And I think there's going to be plenty of teams that there could be a fit for a guy like Tomas Hertl. Quick break there. I think there's plenty of teams that will be in on Hertl. Now, you can make the argument on the West Coast. I think there are teams that would be interested in Hertl, but I don't necessarily know if the Sharks would want to trade him to those teams. I'm talking about maybe the Anaheim Ducks, who have a need at center. Even the Vegas Golden Knights for a top-line center. And again, I don't think the Sharks are going to want to trade in the division. So I don't really think those make much sense. Well, maybe going to the Northeast side of things, or maybe the Midwest. Let's go there first. In the Midwest, you have a team like the Minnesota Wild who would love to have a player like Tomas Hertl play alongside Kirill Kaprizov. I think there's some real interest in that. I think they realize that they need more center depth. I think the Minnesota Wild would be willing to give up the price needed to pick up a Tomas Tatar. I think that could work. Excuse me. Heading up north to Canada, I think a team that would be... oh, Jesus, guys. I think a team that could be really interested in a guy like Tomas Hertl, and we've heard these rumors now this week, we could see a deal here between the Montreal Canadiens and potentially Tomas Hertl with the San Jose Sharks. Now, I think there's some interest in this because this offer sheet thing with Kotkaniemi is going to leave a big hole on the second line for the Montreal Canadiens down the middle. And I think a team that would be more desperate to make that deal would be Marc Bergevin and the Habs. And I think you could see a deal where it's just straight up that compensation they pick up for Kotkaniemi, that first and third round pick, could be sent right to San Jose for a guy like Tomas Hertl, which I think there would be some real interest in. Now, they've also looked at a guy like Christian Dvorak in Arizona for that first and third. So I think they're going to decide on which one they want to do in that deal. But once we figure that out, it all comes down to what's happening with Kotkaniemi, which by the time this video is coming out, may already be released to the public. So we'll probably get a better idea of that. The Ottawa Senators staying in the northeastern Canada area. I think the Ottawa Senators are another team I would love to add a guy like Tomas Hertl. Now, he is on a one-year deal, which I think there may be some concern for Sens fans that a team that's not necessarily a playoff team to go out and get a rental. They'd probably like a sign and trade for a guy like Tomas Hertl, but I think there's some genuine interest there. I think I could see Tomas Hertl in the Senators' new uniforms. I could definitely see that working out. So I think that's an interesting fit. And now going back to the States on the north side of things, I could see a team like the Boston Bruins maybe pushing for a guy like Tomas Hertl, and they're not being really talked about in terms of being linked to him. But a guy like David Krejci leaving the organization leaves a big gaping hole down the middle. And you could argue Charlie Coyle fills that role, but they'd probably like a little bit more depth. And you had a guy like Tomas Hertl, that's a really nice addition down the middle for the Boston Bruins. And it would definitely, he's not a David Krejci player, but he could fill that role for now. And they may be more inclined to give him as a rental, as a guy that they could bring in for another cup run. That may be the mindset for Don Sweeney and the Bruins in terms of keeping a guy like Hertl. Moving a little bit further down, you could be looking at another team that I think is really, really, really looking at Tomas Hertl on the East Coast. You could make an argument, again, with this whole situation, that the Washington Capitals could be in on Hertl. And the reason I say that is we don't know what's going on with Evgeny Kuznetsov. I think there's some genuine interest from Kuznetsov maybe being moved out by Brian McClellan. So if they move him out, they're going to need another guy to replace him. So there could be some interest in maybe bringing a guy like Tomas Hertl for the long haul in Washington. So just a couple names I'd throw out there to you. So just to recap, a couple teams that would be interested in Hertl. I'm kind of keeping the West Coast teams out of the consideration at this point unless they give a really good price. So that's kind of out of the question. But the Minnesota Wild, I think, would be a really good team. The Montreal Canadiens and the Ottawa Senators up in Canada seem like two teams that could really use a guy like Tomas Hertl. And then going back down to the eastern United States, I really think the Boston Bruins and the Washington Capitals could be teams to keep an eye on for a guy like Tomas Hertl. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you think of Tomas Hertl and potentially getting traded? I think there is some genuine interest there in a guy that's still, in his late 20s, at 27 years old. He still has the potential to have a really good career somewhere, and he could play center. He's a right winger, and I think there is going to be a lot of interest in him. I mean, you look at his contract situation. He's on the final year of a 4-year, $22.5 million contract. You have to assume you're probably going to be paying him $6 million per year on his next contract. I think there'll be plenty of teams around the league that would have interest in Tomas Hertl. Now, you also have to remember that Tomas Hertl would also submit a three-team trade list, which means he would only, have to sign, there would be 3 teams that a deal could be done for. So if he really doesn't want to stay in San Jose, which it doesn't seem like that's the case, he may genuinely look at teams like Minnesota, maybe a team like Montreal, and maybe a team like Boston and say, if I could put those 3 teams on my 3-team trade list, I wouldn't mind going there. So let me know what you guys think down below. And if you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL and more videos just like this one, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. Guys, as always, make sure to check out our links in the description down below. We got a Patreon. We have our Goal Line Hockey swag shop from our little website there at Streamlabs. So make sure to check that out. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you again next time.